Greetings, my name is Herbert.
Welcome, I am Stephen.
And this is
The
Sonic Desk, a journey through Jamaican music. And today our very special guest is the man himself, Mr. Yes Indeed, Tommy Cowan.
Welcome, Tommy.
Thomas, welcome man.
Bless.
First of all, how are you? How are you, man?
Let me check. I'm good.
Don't worry, all right. You have become so big. I mean, everybody know international Tommy Cowan. First of all, I want to know how to start, but tell me something. Where you come from? You're a Kingston and are you a countryman come and town, or a town man go to country? How you think that?
Well, I was born in St. Elizabeth.
Oh, that's why it's brown. The brand.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the brownness because most people say you're red. But in St. Elizabeth in Newmarket, where is one of the, what you call it, the rain belt.
Right.
Yeah, place that have floods all the time. And I was born there, went to school early, and then I came into Kingston at a very early age, from around the age of about 7.
Oh, okay, young.
So, yeah. So I actually grew up in Kingston for most of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, which part of Kingston was it? Because I met in the music part of Kingston.
Well, I came into Kingston first on Maxwell Avenue by the corner of Queens Avenue. And met some interesting persons there at the time, at that early stage. And then I went to live on Delacree Road, which is further down Maxwell Avenue, with my aunt. That was my second trip into Kingston because I went back to the country and then they decided to send me back to Kingston. And I grew up on Delacree Road.
Okay.
And that's where I kind of started with everything. I went to Halfway Tree Primary School. And then growing up on Delacree Road was quite an interesting place.
Okay. So
you know.
How did your music career start now? How you get into the music business?
Well, on Delacree Road was just a natural music place. You had, next door to my house, we had a gym, and Jackie Edwards used to train there. Owen Gray, you know. So, and then we had the sound systems on the road. Munchie, the great sound system. I met the likes of Count Machuki, Lord Comic, and all those guys were up and down. And of course, we were pretty close to Maxwell Park. And in Maxwell Park, there was a shed, you know? And under that shed was an old piano for some reason. And under that shed, people like John Holt used to come by. Bob Andy was then a kid across at Maxwell Park Children's Home. And so you had people like Errol Thompson, the late disc jockey from the radio station, like I said, Owen Gray and John Holt. And in the evenings, they would gather there, and I would just watch these guys, and they would just play pum pa pum pa pum pa pum pa pum. Every song was pum pa pum pa pum pa pum pa, you know. And so that was that beginning, you know. But not only was it like just music, there was a certain amount of consciousness and things that went with that little era there, because there you had the early teachings of Rasta and Black Power movement. So once the music was finished, they would sit down and have reasoning about Martin Luther King, Eldridge Cleaver, Rap Brown, Stokely Carmichael, you know, Haile Selassie, and the different, you know, yeah. So we had a black consciousness down there with guys like Billy Sheriff and Mako. Those are guys who probably remember Mako, who died, and all of that. So we had that kind of a mixture, you know, within that era of Maxwell Park. Yeah.
All right, so tell us about the group, your first group that you had found.
The Miracles.
The Miracles.
Right. Well, the Miracles now, what happened, you know, I was at Halfway Tree Primary School, and then the little concert there, I sang a Pat Boone tune, Be Faithful Darling.
Okay.
And then, so guys kind of knew me, and then I went to Walgrove College, and while I'm at Walgrove College, they asked me to come to Queens High School. Not Queens. It's Queens? Out in Crossroads? Queens. No, the other one. St. Hughes. St. Hughes. I went over to St. Hughes, and I sang my song there. And these other guys were there. And so after the concert, they asked me to join the group. And that was a group called the Miracles. So I didn't form the Miracles. I was asked to join the Miracles. And so we joined the Miracles. And that had its own history of itself, doing like the Bournemouth nightclub, Kitty Mat, which was a club on Maxwell Avenue. And that's how we used to sing there and get, for 5 of us, 25 shillings, you know. And we used to walk out to Bournemouth, sing there, and then walk back to Maxwell Avenue, along with, you know, with the, of course, the Scatterlights and Carlos Malcolm and these guys were the backing bands of the days. So we won a couple, what you call it there, talent contests during that time, And then, we had, of course, there was Johnson's Driving. Right, yeah.
And then what happened after with the Miracles? You broke up and then the Jamaicans were formed?
No.
No?
No. The Miracles, like I said, we were singing. And then one day, there's a guy called Mac Ekron, an American guy. And this guy arrived in Jamaica, and he was part owner of a ship. And so we were down the wharf and we saw what was happening there, and this guy took off like his pink Cadillac, you know, come off. But then we got a call to sing for this guy. And the guy, what the idea was that he was having dinner with a lady that he was dating. And so he called us to her home for us to sing while the 2 of them have dinner. so it's like the 5 of us are singing. And we sang, and he said, boys, I'm gonna introduce you to Shandy. You know what Shandy is, boys? It's a beer mixed with, so we had our first strong drink, a beer mixed with soda, And then he says to us, boys, let me tell you something. You're gonna change the name of the group. I say, yes. He says, yes. You're gonna call yourself the Jamaicans.
Oh, that's
The Jamaicans, I thought that sounded kind of a, you know, salt. You know, say yes. He says, one day, the music of this country is going to become big. And you guys, you need to be the first to be identified with it.
What's his name? What's his name?
Aston McEachran.
Aston McEachran. Right down that name.
As a matter of fact, his wife, Joyce McEachran, has a real estate company called McEachran and whatever.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, she was a member of, not the Gaelettes, the Solettes.
Oh, Solettes was Rita. Gaelettes.
I think Rita,
This one now was Joyce, Merle, Judy.
Judy Mott was Gaelettes, right? And
Right.
Rita was Solettes, something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So it was, yes. So she was a member of that group, and we would hang out with them and kind of, what would we say, coach them and all of that during that time. So Joyce got to know him, and they got married. So that was how come we got known as the Jamaicans.
Okay.
So tell us what the festival song now.
Festival now.
Okay, so the festival song situation was this. In 1964, right after independence, had forward march and all that was 62 and they came across. And they decided they were now having what you called a pop and mentor competition. This was where all the groups entered for this pop and mentor competition.
Before you go any further, who were some of the groups that time?
Oh, Desmond Decker and the Aces, Toots and the Maytals, Bob, Kim, yeah, Bob, yeah. And
Bob by himself. Bob by himself? You said Bob. Bob by Peter and Bonnie wasn't with him. Just Bob by himself?
no, the Wheelers,
The Wailers.
you know, the
The Wailers,
Wheelers
right,
actually
that's right.
entered one year, you know, because, but there was a lot of them.
Right.
Because it was Dream and different ones of them were in that group at the time. But really it was more like Desmond Decker. Like I said, Toots, and you had people like Derek Morgan and all of that during those times.
Yes.
So we entered and we won. And we won in 65. And then in 66 they decided to have the festival song. And we opted to enter again for the pop and mentor competition, which was more rounded. The festival song was like about a song. And the pop and mentor competition was about your presentation, your choreography, the choice of song, etc. And so that year, Toots won with Bam Bam, and we won the gold medal for the pop and mentor competition that year. Then in 67, we decided to go and enter the festival song competition with Baba Boom. And so that was our year. We were, of course, under instructions of Duke Reed. And so we were entering like the downtown, actual downtown group, you know, Bond Street. And that year the competition was heavy because you had Desmond Decker and the Aces. I think that was Unity.
Yeah, you and
Yeah.
I.
They came second.
Yeah.
And then Alan the Vibrators would move up.
Yeah,
they came
Jamaican
third.
move up.
And that was a hot competition. So that was what really happened now. And of course, it was a voting system. So you had to go all over the country. And you perform and the people voted.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So even back in them days, the festival thing, you were traveling all of the parishes.
Oh, yeah.
basically.
Oh, yeah. And the competition was hot because it was like an election. Yeah. Because all the 3 songs came out all like winners that year. They were really on target. Couldn't tell who would win until they counted those votes. Yeah.
Your association with so much different people in the music business. I mean, after your lustrous career with the Jamaicans and all them things there, you started like do some artist management after that. This is where talent started.
Talent Corporation. Yeah. Yeah, we did that. But just to let you know, I also had the opportunity. I produced Cherry O Baby.
Yes.
For the festival. I also promoted Pumps and Pride for Toots. You know, as part of my association.
Tell me about Cherry O Baby. What will play on it?
Oh, Cherry O Baby.
Yeah.
So we reverse now.
Yeah.
Oh, Cherry O Baby was interesting because at the time I was managing Inner Circle. And so we spot the song from Sombrero the day. And we said, all right. So we went to the event the night, and there was kind of a tussle. Everybody, this guy and this unusual rhythm. Of course, you know, the rhythm came out of the fact that they couldn't keep Eric on the the rhythm track. So we had to go check. Yeah. So so anyway, but on Cherry O Baby, we had this is interesting because we had Ibu Cooper, we had Roger and Ian Lewis. I think it's Michael Barover was on the drums.
Carl Barover.
Carl. Right. But then I heard of a little guy with a nice sound called Tyrone Downey. So the day when I had the musicians, I asked the guys them to hold on. And I went to KC and asked for him to come out of KC. So I took him out of KC and that was the first song he played on.
Yeah.
Cherry O Baby, Tyrone Downey.
Huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So that was, and then we had Eric all around the island. And I mean, like, the guy, there was 10 finalists in that year. And so Eric drew number 9. And I think maybe for one time, the number 10 artist was able to come on. Because the people mash up the place every time Eric come on with him Cherry O Baby, man.
It's a vibrant crowd, man.
And him pink suit, jumper suit, and him white gloves. So
you was managing Junior Tucker because it's you first and you with this little Junior Tucker thing. Can't call him little no more still, you know. See, Pastor Tucker,
Blessings,
respect,
Pastor
God,
Tucker.
he's a man, right? Tell me about the Junior Tucker years. There's so many pictures with you and Junior Tucker in the studio, TST, the whole thing. Tell us something about Junior Tucker. Give a little bit of that.
Junior first appearance as I knew the Tucker family. I knew Jimmy Tucker. Jimmy Tucker was one of the artists of the times, from the Virgin's Opportunity Hours, etc. And he would have sang at RJR from the Studio Street and all of that. So we knew the family, and then they had Nuggets for the Needy, and they introduced this little boy. And I said, wow, I have to be part of this. And then I started working with Junior. So we had Junior from very young age coming up, and then this whole Michael Jackson thing came about. And so Junior had this ability to sing like Michael, and then he was afraid of it. And I'm saying, you know, don't be afraid to sing like him if you can do that naturally. But then Junior, so Mrs. Melody and all of these songs, he used to just have this ability as a kid to hit these notes, and every time he did it. Right. So I would take Junior all over the island. I used to have to carry him in my lap. And make him sleep.
8-year-old, 7, 8-year-old.
7, 8. And have him all in a club. Because, I mean, like, the responsibility in this guy's life at that time was just amazing and out of this world. Because he was like carrying the family, even from them, you know. And then would take him to events, have him in my lap, him sleeping, and then have to wake him up, make him sing, put him back to sleep. then training him, you know. I used to train Junior how to really stay on stage. So I used to take him up, like, even to the dam. And they nearly drowned him because hold him under the water. You know, hold him under Hershey water. So see how long him can hold him breath before he goes to
Kill you.
Yeah. And then I would go to the dam and run back way, and then run me down. I run him back way, and him have to run. Run and make him run and run and run and sing and run, sing and run, sing and run.
Now if you come to you for some training, man, no one knows you're a big Jimmy Trucker. You ever hear that?
It's too late.
It's too late to me now, is that right?
Tommy, during that time, you had even with talent, you had done a lot of producing, like Jacob Miller, for instance, Leroy Smart, Ras Michael and the Sons of Neighbors. You had a lot of artists that you had managed and produced.
Yeah.
Apart from Junior.
Well, you had Junior, you had the Inner Circle with Jacob Miller. You actually had Berris, who was with Zappo.
Zappo.
We had Zappo there, we had Ras Michael and the Sons of Negos. We even had Tiger.
Israel Vibration, right?
Israel Vibration, yeah.
Your favorite song in producing, same song.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Why
and we-
worry? Why worry too?
And we even, you know, because we did distribution and we did what not have you, we had put out songs like Legalize It by Peter Tosh. We had put out Black Heart Man by Bunny Wailer. We had put out Roadblock and Natty Dread by Bob Marley. So talent was like the hub of the industry at that time, because before that I was working with Dynamic Sounds, me and Neville Lee.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, you mentioned, but before we go to so, you mentioned Bob Marley a while ago. And everybody come here, we ask you about them experiences with Bob. Share some of your experiences with Bob Marley.
Okay, so at Talent, remember now we knew Bob from back then. I mean, from the days of, we did shows with him as the Jamaicans.
Okay.
At Ward Theatre, we did different stuff. And as a matter of fact, he would come and check me from time to time and little things we can't talk about.
Yeah.
But when Bob, the really significant side of it was at Talent Corporation, Bob came and he said to me, listen, he was getting a hard time in getting his music played as such on
radio.
Yeah. So he figured that I had a good connection with radio. Duke Reed had taught me how to really get into the radio station, and that was part of my job at Dynamic Sounds, was to get radio play. As a matter of fact, one year we had the #1 song for every month of the year. We actually put out an ad, and you know, the whole, we were here picking the songs for the Jackson 5 and Aretha Franklin, name it. Otis Redding and what not have you. But so Bob said to me that he wanted to get his music more exposed. So I said to him, well, listen, what you need to do then is let me hear what you have. So he decided to play some of the songs. So I look at the songs, I says, 2 songs here. This one is a monster hit, Natty Dread. And then the other one, Roadblock. Yeah? Sure. So I said, well, how I would do it is put out the lesser of the 2 first. And as soon as that hits wherever it can go, we would release the next one. So I released Roadblock. Roadblock went up to #1, and then Natty Dread hit like a storm. I mean, it was Dread, Natty Dread now. And it really was a monster of a hit. Then Bob, what really happened after that now was that he went away. Yeah, because after that, the shooting took place. I think it was the shooting was that, after that, and he went in exile somehow. Right. And so I got a call from England, from Claudia Massop.
Right, Claudius, man.
Yeah, and Claudia said to me, boy, Tommy, Bob want to come home, you know. And I think what should really happen is that we should do a concert, you know? We should do a concert. And so I went about kind of planning this concert with Diane Jobson.
Diane Jobson, lawyer, yeah.
So we planned the concert. Bob came to Jamaica, and we did the One Love Peace concert. That is history. All of what you see there. So I was asked, he had spoken to me on the phone, asked me to produce the concert, because it was also during that time when we were doing Epiphany.
Yeah,
remember the Epiphany Club shows. And that's where a lot of persons got exposure, the Gregory Isaacs, Heptones, everybody would know, be able to hold their own show, and we're doing it. So we had the One Love Peace concert, and after the One Love Peace concert, he asked me now to join Tough Gang as a marketing manager for the Whalers and for the company, and for us to create a vision to build Tough Gang. So that was now where I got to work with Tough Gang. I actually had to close out talent, you know, and bring the artists over to Tough Gang, because now we were going to have one vision. We were going to be like the Motown of Jamaica, of reggae music. And to build this, so I had Junior Tucker, Ras Michael, and Israel Vibration, and we're all there. So we're building the studio at the time, and then he, you know, we did the Zimbabwe. I'd gone to Zimbabwe with him.
What was that like? People, as a person that went on tour with Bob.
Yeah, well, in Zimbabwe.
This was what year, roughly? 76, 77? Earlier?
No, man, later.
Later.
Bob died in
81.
Zimbabwe was like 80. Yeah. Because it was.
All right, it
wasn't long after.
We'll take a quick break, and then we'll come right back with Tommy telling us about going on tour with Bob in Zimbabwe. All right, so we're back with Tommy, and Tommy was about to tell us about going on tour with Bob Marley in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes the stories set in such a way, because I was at Hope Road, and just to give you the picture of what really took place, and a lot of things happened at Hope Road. I mean, one night a guy came in and said the Pope sent him. You know, and the Pope wanted to do a concert with it. So, well, this night we were upstairs as a regular thing, cooking cornmeal porridge in the night.
Okay.
Yeah. And we heard a knock on the door. And so we checked out who it was. And we saw two brethren, two Africans, came, and they said that Bob Marley, listen, we've been trying to find you. They told us that you were in London, and we went to London. And after that, they said you were in Los Angeles, and we went to California trying to find you. And now we're here in Jamaica. I say, what is it? He says, well, the Zimbabwe, which was Rhodesia, was about to get its independence. And they, who are regarded as the freedom fighters, wanted to, was inviting him to come as their guest of honor to perform. Because the truth is that when they were losing the battle, it was his music that won the war.
Okay.
And then we got a little history. What did this mean? And he says, well, the inspiration that the freedom fighters got from the music was beyond anything else they could have gotten. It was like a weapon in itself. And it was so serious that a family would starve, basically, for a week to be able to buy a Marley album. Because what they would do, everybody would just have to stop eating, don't buy no food, and put all the money together. Because it was more like a bootleg thing going in there. So the cost of the album was very high. And, well, look at the whole situation. And then we also realized that we're inviting the group to come to Zimbabwe, but they had no money. So Bob got together, long story short, got Alec Leslie Enterprise in London to set up the whole thing. In other words, we had to fly in the PA system and the crew from England.
Lights and everything?
Yes, everything. And then we had to fly in us from Jamaica. And I was asked to, then when I got there, we realized they had to ask me now to actually do the production. In other words, to set up the stage, get carpenters, get this, get all of that to do the stage. And so, which had its own story. But we got there and we did the first night when we got there. We had like Prince Charles. You had all the big leaders from over Africa. As a matter of fact, I was just saying that on our way there, we actually came into one airport along with Prince Charles and the red carpet, which was prepared for him. Of course, we just walked down it. We saw P.J. Patterson, who was in the airport too, in one of the stops representing Jamaica, and he was on his way there. But anyway, so we got there and we started the concert, the night. We were to perform right before the lowering of the Union Jack and the raising of the Zimbabwe, So while we were in the concert and the concert started, I was on the stage, but I heard a rumbling, I heard something strange, and I said, no, not really. I went, this is the stage here, and this is the stadium. And I decided I would want to hear the sound. So I decided to leave the stage here and go around here. When I got around here, I heard a rumbling. So I decided to climb up on the wall in the back of the stadium and look over. When I look over, I saw thousands.
People outside?
No, man, a brethren coming towards the stadium, like militantly. And realizing what had happened, the stadium was next to a war camp, what do you call it?
The base.
No, we're the prison of wars.
Okay.
And apparently the prisoners broke out of that, break down the place, and it's coming towards now. And this is chaos, because there's thousands of them, And I'm watching over and seeing, I said, what's happening here? And then not really understanding what was happening, and I saw the guys coming towards the door, and then pow, pow, I see the smoke. And I realized, wait, it's tear gas. So I ran back to the stage. And until it's tear gas. And Bob didn't even hear, but everybody starts scampering. Of course, Ziggy, little Ziggy, the first thing I saw was Ziggy when he did this. So I took some water and wet a towel and put it on his face. And little Ziggy and Steve was there, Steve. So we had to rush now. Bob was like the last to really realize what was happening and rush towards the bus And we stayed in the bus while you hear more tear gas going off, and then we heard almost like a jet went off, like some emergency, and you hear the jet come by the same, whoom, whoom, more than one jet. And then and then the whole place was turning smoke, and then we heard a big round of applause. And apparently the gates had burst open and they allowed the
People in.
the freedom fighters to come in, right? And so the actual audience was giving them a standing ovation because these were the guys who were locked up because of the fighting. So we were called now to come back on stage. But when we looked, we didn't see the I-tree. So I remember the next day, Bob teasing them and said, "Now I know who's the true revolutionaries."
I-tree gone off.
Like Judy always said to me, "Man, it's when I'm at home and I'm looking at the TV, I see the concert." So we went back on and did a couple of songs. I remember in that following up we did Natty Dubbit in Zimbabwe and Africa Unite, you know. And then the next evening we went back and we did another concert. We made the equipment because the people, the normal man on the street couldn't come into the stadium. No people, so Bob wanted to do something for them. But you know, that was a strange concert the next day. It was like, if I can use a better word than lackluster, in the sense of like, it was like, he wasn't like, you know, the norm. But that was a historic time, you know, and that was a journey too, that, you know, I stood with him and saw what some of the guys thought about the revolution. You know, they look at their guns and one have an M16. I remember two soldiers, one have an M16, one have AK-47. And this one said, "This is made by Russia, this is made by US." And then said, you know, and then Bob stepped off and said, "Ha ha ha. So which one? One is US, one is Russia. Which one don't have an African gun?" You know? And they just look at each other strange. But what a message.
Yes, yes.
You know, you're fighting with two guns from two different nations against your own people. But apart from that too, I've had the experience and the privilege of doing we did like 33 shows in Europe in like 35 days. So that means it was show to show to show to show. And that again was quite an experience on its own. Just to watch people in this experience with Bob here coming out and even bringing out their babies for him to bless them. I mean, we're going home at night and we into the hotel and people come into the lobby, bring the baby 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, ask them just to touch them. And that whole thing is a whole experience.
This man was such a man to be, as well, one of the I3 songs say, "Thank you, Jah, for the blessings to, you know, to have been in the presence." Your personal thing, Bob Marley, how you saw Bob, how you see Bob Marley? I mean, a friend as a personal confidant, you and him close.
Well, you know, he was gifted. He was, he had, you know, I said to people say what it is about his singing. That was so good, apart from the message. And I say he sang in the key of man.
I hear that.
You know?
Anybody can sing it.
Yeah, everybody thinks they are Bob. When you watch Bob, a person in the dancing, they think they are Bob. Them don't dance normal. Them dance and them performing. Them take the song on for themselves. But, you know, he would say little things to me at time. And I say, "Boy, it's not going to stop, you know. It's not going to stop now because right now, as we even in the lockdown, Bob Marley has streamed something like 1.3 billion streams in the lockdown, the highest in the world. This is 40 years after, you know. But to me, he had a gift and he had a purpose, and because he had a purpose, he kind of lived in his assignment. And he knew, say some things that he knew. Like for instance, he knew he was gonna die early. You know, and he pursued it. And I remember after we did Redemption song, and I went with him and said next year we had to go to the country. And say, all right. And the same guy Johnson from Johnson's driving. He had some land down there. So, and they had the Alter Beach. So he wanted the Alter Beach to buy and the land to buy for farming, because he wanted to teach the youths in Jamaica to go to farming. That was all part of the whole Tough Gang plan, was to get kids into school, give Tough Gang school uniform, Tough Gang writing books, and etc. And he was saying, well, okay, we had an offer on the table from Columbia Records, and we said put it on hold, because he said he wanted a long rest. And so we went to look for the resting place. So we went on this mountain top. A lady, we pick up a church lady, and this was so amazing to me up to today. Why did we pick up the church lady? Well, she was the one walking us through the mountain to get up to this place where he said is up there, so I want to go rest. Up there, want to build the house. So we had Evan Williams, you know, Redbones Evan?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Evan was designing the house, the cabin, a wood cabin for up there. And then he got ill. And then he would just call me and say, we're reach with the house now. We're reach with the house. We want the room where the sun rising. And then I said, wow, this is amazing, because his mother told me of when he would have died as a kid. And she said, Angel just come to her and said, well, listen, just turn the baby around. Turn his head to where the sun is rising. And she said that was it. And she said he was so sick. She thought she would have lost him. Nothing could get him better. And the angel appeared to her. And yeah, so the experiences has been.
Were you with him in his final days? Get sick and all them things there? Germany.
No, I spoke to him the day before.
Okay.
Because I had to stay. I wanted to go because of some other reasons, you know. And he said to me, no, it's all right. Jah will take care of me. Because I told him I was going to come. Because the day after he collapsed I just flew to New York the next day in New York. Right, and he was like, in the mirror, most up himself, and say him going to be all right. But then the lady who was producing the show in Madison said to me, something strange happened to me. Says he was forgetting his lines. And she never seen that. This is not pretty. He was forgetting his lines. And so he told me he would have been all right. But then I kept in touch with him, and you know, and he would say things like, what are they saying? And one of them said to me, somebody said that I'm gonna die. I said, no, you let them know that Bob will be back, you know. But it was a whole lot of stuff.
I don't know.
A whole lot.
International reggae MC, the whole Sunsplash days and all them things. I could talk piece of that. Mr. Yes Indeed.
Yeah. And the Yes Indeed. Where did the Yes Indeed?
You know,
tell us about
because it was the first Sunsplash logo we had was like a Ras with a guitar. And everybody was saying, "Is it
It's
Tommy
me.
Cowan or Bob Marley?" You know,
They were saying with me because when they look at how the thing
the thing
was.
set up. So say, "Tommy, play guitar."
Well, Sunsplash has its history, just to let you know, Sunsplash at Talent Corporation, Tony Johnson came to Jamaica as one of the, I think he was brought back to Jamaica as one of the bright minds of the Jamaicans that were living abroad. I think when Michael Manley and those guys were inviting these brains, young guys of Jamaica, to come home and be part of the system. So he came, and we thought that, okay, this is a great guy. We would like for him to be part of what we're doing. We thought of doing these concerts of reggae. I was actually criticized by one minister of government. As a matter of fact, one guy, head of CPT, said one of the biggest mistakes ever was when they played reggae on radio in Jamaica, right? The minister of education had also said that Jamaicans had reached their lowest ebb when Baba Boom was selected as a festival song, right? And
really
so,
fight it.
yeah, this was like a mission I was on to say no. That's why I left and said, well, all of these guys, let's go Talent Corporation, talent, and bring them in together. And so I met Tony Johnson, was one of the guys who was there. I mean, like I tell you, Bob, Peter, Bunny, everybody was there. Cindy Breakspeare was there serving as in the restaurant and all of that we had up there. And so Tony came, and we decided we wanted to do these concerts. We went out and we did a set of concerts called Reggae Sun and Ting. We actually wanted to call the concerts Sunsplash. Byron Lee, reason why Byron Lee had done some concert called Splashdown.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And he had the album with the thing landing this with the Reggae Splashdown. So, and at one of the concerts, going to one of the concerts, Tony met in a car accident with Roger Lewis, the Inner Circle, lost her eye. Bam, we had discrepancies in that because they were saying who's to be blamed for the crash, etc. So we kind of separated from Tony. Then he invited me again to be part of, with him, Don Green, myself and Valerie, was to be part of this organization now to do this thing. But Valerie never liked it, so I never did it. And then some years after, we done too much good terms, so some years after, I was called to become the MC. Because, from what I was doing at Epiphany and all of that, sort of a reputation was out there. So, I became known to do Sunsplash. At this time, the government had stepped in with Eddie Siaga for them, and they were now taking part in this whole thing, I guess, funding it, and Babsy Grange and all of that. So I went on and started to MC Reggae Sunsplash. So it was always, Reggae Sunsplash is a musical vibe, going to the four corners of the world with the hope that through this music we may unite the people of all race, all class, all color, all class, all religion. Reggae Sunsplash, uniting the world through music. And that became
the theme.
The theme.
Worldwide.
Yes,
uniting the world through music. And so I did all of these amazing Sunsplashes in Montego Bay. I mean, one of the famous ones is when people are waiting from one evening and 6 o'clock come and the church needs to start. That's next door to the start. And I had to talk to police to allow us to have on Dennis Brown because that was it. I mean, people wait from 6 till 6 next day to see Dennis Brown, And as I did those Sunsplash with them, and then we started to do Sunsplash internationally. And so I did Sunsplash in Africa and New Zealand, Australia, Europe, America. I did over 500 Sunsplash shows abroad. I mean, in Japan, you know, where I had to learn to sing in Japanese, and as I walk on the stage, I would say, "Hi, Honto," which is, yes, indeed, you know, and yeah. So I became, actually, if I had some of the posters, I became so well known for Sunsplash in Japan that they would have, they would put my picture this big and put the artist underneath my picture in Japan. Yeah.
Yes.
So that is,
Sunsplash tour. It's a pity we have to do this. Salem, Dennis Brown. Your relationship with Dennis Brown. Come in here, you do a whole work with him up to the last.
Yes. Well, I managed Dennis Brown. And of course, you know, I took him on amazing tours abroad. It was, my family used to call that a labor of love. Was one of the nicest persons you could ever know.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Of course, you know, he had these habits that were just not good for him. He got into the drugs, and he also had, from a very young stage out, he only had one lung working, and the heavy smoking and all of that. But he was an amazing guy and an amazing talent. And Dennis Brown, I even gave him that name, the Crown Prince of Reggae. I did that at Treehouse Club. That was where we first called him, you know.
Treehouse Club in Negril.
Negril, yeah. Man who was singing for me, he was knee high. Yeah. Because when Toots made 54-46, he had already given me a hit song called No Man is an Island. Money in my pocket, how could I leave?
Yes,
you know, revolution, wolves and leopards, the crown prince as he rides again in Joseph coat of many colors.
Yes, sir.
Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
Yes, sir. That's what it's Sunset all over again.
Yes,
Dennis
man.
in the morning. Dennis in the morning.
Yeah, man. So Dennis was a great guy. I was with him up until the night before he died. He had done a trip to Brazil, and he called us from Brazil, and let us tape him doing he did a gospel song for Carlene, and someday I'll go where Jesus is. Someday. And we said, you know, this is strange, he's different. And then he called me the night, and I went by to see him, and he was lying in his bed. And he was saying, you know, I want to tell you, your family, you're such good people. Such good people, and you know, just tell Sister Carlene that, you know, I really admire her so much, and may her cookie jar never see emptiness. And he says, we talk and say, you know, because he's always this nice guy, regardless of what he says and what him do, because you give him all the money right now, and 3 hours, I'm so sorry, but the cookie jar is empty. Because he go downtown and he give away the money, you know. And then I was leaving him, and as I walked down away, I heard a cough. And I said, my God, what's that? Sounded like a wall was crumbling. And I said, I stop. And we went home and we just prayed about it. You know, and because at this point we had fully come into a full commitment of our lives, my family with Christ. And so we would be praying for Dennis, and Dennis was one of the artists who never had any problems with us and our Christianity. So we prayed for him, and then the next morning I'm just getting a thing that he's in the hospital, and by the time I go there, he's dead. You know?
All right, Tommy. While you're on the topic, you and Carlene opened Vessel Ministries in 1998. correct? All right, and you're basically converted to
Actually,
Christianity in
95.
96? 95. All right, and you opened your recording studio, Judah Recording Studio and Glory Music.
Yeah, praise go
Right.
first.
And your
Yeah.
big show, Fun in the Sun. Right. Tell us about that. You know, the whole conversion and everything.
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I must say this, you know, I have to give sort of a lot of credit to our parents and our grandparents because they prayed us through. And I've lived to see that when people says, you know, when your mother pray for you, anybody can take it from you. You know, I remember even Bob says when him help a little old lady across the road, and she said, God bless him, his son. Him say, nobody can take that off you. And so it was with me growing up. My father was a Methodist minister. I said to my brother one day, I said to my brother Jackie, I said, listen, I don't understand this thing, you know. I walk up to the altar all the time and say, I want to give my life to the Lord, but I don't feel anything different. He said, no, you won't. I said, why? He said, you see, when you were born, your mother hold you right up and said, God, you gave him to me, and I'm giving him right back to you. So,
This is for original. Tommy, conversion now, different thing now. I have to take a small break again. We'll produce all that pressure. See it? Be right back.
Everybody get ready. It's time to rock steady. It's Baba Boom time. Don't lose the beat now. Just dip your head now. It's Festival 5 this year. You hear the people sing boom, boom, Baba boom, 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 Festival boom, boom, Baba boom, 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 Festival boom, boom, Baba boom.
Welcome back, Tommy and we again, yeah? Tommy has converted now.
yes. So I was saying that the prayers of your parents and your grandparents are really come true and they're for real. Because, like I was telling you that my brother said to me that when I came into this world, my mother held me up and said, God, you gave him to me and I'm giving him right back to you. And none of that would have changed because that's a promises. So it was in 1995, my wife was diagnosed with cancer.
Yes.
And we got delivered out of that. And so she had said, listen, Lord, me not going nowhere anymore.
Yeah.
Trust me. Because one thing I can tell you about her is that even throughout the secular years, you know, she's one of the persons who can name the Bible from Genesis to Revelation, and she can actually sing it as a song. Everyone, and don't miss any. So she grew up that way and knew that that calling was there. But a lot of people didn't know that immediately right after that, I was also diagnosed. And then I went into the hospital. They went inside of me and they said, boy, what we see inside of you, we have to close your back.
Yeah.
Because you will be walking with that bag on you for the rest of your days. And they said, the only way we can have a chance with you is if we do a laser treatment, right, on you. And so they decided, so I went back, got back well, and went back in for the laser treatment. And when I went on there, they were trying to get me to sleep, and for some reason, couldn't go to sleep. So they said they had to go ahead. So I'm watching what they're doing somehow, very groggy, and seeing the screens, and the guy going inside with these cameras, and the doctor is shaking his head and says, something wrong, can I see all the reports? He looked at the reports and said, well, what I'm looking for is not here. But it was on that same bed and inside there that the pastors and the elders from the church came and prayed. And so that went null. And nothing happened there. He said, get up, come back in 6 months, and then I'm walking out to him and say, matter of fact, I don't want to see you again.
Yeah.
You know? And then after that, I had another bout of cancer. Yeah. And that is also history. Right? And that is it. But we were talking about Glory Music. So we had formed Glory Music at that experience. And that was to opening up the gospel music to a bigger market and to expose the gospel music coming out of Jamaica. So we, you know, we had the experiences of going through again, people getting converted. You had Judy Mott, Carlene, Junior Tucker, Chevelle Franklin, Stitchy, you know, God said, Papa San, God said, come out of that and come in at this. And so, and then out of that, he gave us a vision. After what we were seeing was happening in spring break and the kids coming here, and we found out that Christian kids were getting involved in the same thing because there was nothing there for them. And so my son, Pastor Che, I said to him, give him what I'm thinking. He said, Dad, if you give me a weekend at a hotel in the country. He came back from his weekend and said, I got it. It's called Fun in the Sun. I said, no, we don't know more Sunsplash. No more this, no more sun and team. Said, no. This is the sun who make the S-U-N. Fun in the S-O-N. And so we started that event, and we started in Ocho Rush. We were bringing in artists, Ron Canoli, Mary, different. And about the fourth year, we were actually going down. We were about to stop because we couldn't afford it anymore. And we actually had gone to some folks to borrow money to keep doing the festival. But instead of them lending us the money, they gave us the money. And so then, you know, Fun in the Sun has grown to be the largest gospel festival in the English-speaking Caribbean. And now we do it in New York, we do it in Haiti. So, and we have done it in London before too,
Yeah, man, him get all award, you know, gospel event of the year.
Oh, yes.
Gospel
The Gleaner Award for gospel event of the year.
While we're talking about awards, I think it's very important that we let the people know some of the awards that Mr. Cowan here has gotten over the years. We're going to go way back to the Rockers Awards. Back in the day. Jammy Awards, Martin International Reggae and World Music Awards, Rocksteady Lifetime Achievement Award, Mega Jams Award, and Marge Award. But I think the most prestigious award is what? Tell them, Herbie.
You tell them.
In 2007,
You tell them.
OD Master Class from the Jamaican government.
Yes, sir.
That must have made you feel proud. All the works that you have done.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So the man is Tommy Cowan, CD,
Yes,
JP,
sir.
Edward
Yes, sir.
P.
GRJP.
Yeah, well, you know, it's good, but, you know, to God be the glory, because great things he has done. And we just have to try as a people to walk in our purpose. Because, you see, a man without a dream, you know, is really the worst man in the world. And a man without sight is not the worst man. He's a man without a vision, you know. And so I just want to help people, in a sense, to find their purpose, to know how to figure out what the vision is for your life, you know, and follow that. Because, you know, eyes that look are common, but eyes that see are rare. Everybody see, look, but they can't see. So, blessed is the man who can see. So, that is it.
And that's why I can tell you to look. And when I say, boy, Thomas, it's a pleasure. I don't know how much to say, because we didn't start up with half the thing. And who will put you on the top? You can come back. You can come back. Bless us.
One of the day, but I must also say, though, that in closing on this part of it, that my wife, Carlene Davis Cowan, has really been quite, I don't like to call people half, my better half, because she's a whole.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Let's
that
say
has,
she's your better whole then.
has really kept me
Yes.
on this path.
Yes.
And believe you me, if people trust in God and see Christ in this time, you know, even His Majesty Haile Selassie says, a man life without Christ is like a rudderless ship. So, you know, we have to find our purpose. That's why every Friday now, you know, me and the Rasta brethren, them sit down, you know, because, you know, them get the word, you know. And we have to know that the Bible still exists, and it's a guide to your past, your present, and your future. And within it, you'll find the truth for yourself.
All right. Well, listen, ordinarily, would I ask you for a word of prayer, but we're not going to do that this time. You're going to know. I want you to give me the Martin Luther King speech to take us outside. A while ago you mentioned, just give me that speech to take us out. Ladies and gentlemen, Tommy Luther King.
Cowan, give thanks.
Today, when I was coming here, they told us about some of the atrocities that would have been placed upon us by some of our sick white brothers. But I'm not concerned about that now. Because I've been to the mountaintop. And I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. God knows we may not all get to the promised land together, but one day, all of God's children, white men and black men, Protestants and Jews, Catholics and Gentiles, will walk hand in hand and sing that old Negro spiritual, free at last, thank God Almighty, we are free at last.
And with that, I am Herb Rai.
I am Stephen.
And you know who this is?
Tommy Cowan.
And this is
Bless indeed.
SonicDesk.
Yeah, man.